In colonization period, there was a colonization period, colony, creating colony. And in that sense, there were few countries where they were very ahead in creating the colony, like United Kingdom, France, Dutch, Dutch people, Netherlands people, Spanish people, and Portuguese people. These five countries, they are kind of famous or infamous of the creating the colony. Colony means their rule will work there. There means if something is French colony, it is under France. More or less, this is part of France. Something like that. Now France government will kind of initiate any rule out there. They, if someone is making any industry, he has to take permission, and tax collection, everything will happen through the France only. Okay, if we talk about Indian subcontinent, in Indian subcontinent, primarily there is something called dual system. Dual system means if I have a magnet, then everywhere there will be North Pole and South Pole together. A magnet cannot be North Pole and only South Pole. A magnet, if you take, it will have North Pole and South Pole together. It is like in colonization. In colonization, when creating the colony, this France and England, they are North Pole and South Pole of the magnet. They are always together. If you see the colony in the world, France and England are together everywhere. If you see United States, the eastern part that is famous as 13 colony, that is actually United States of America. So 13 colony along the east side of America that belong to United Kingdom. Now aside it, that is the more or less east central part, it was a French colony. French colony full strip from Canada to south, then England eastward, North Canada to south, England colony. They are together. If you see the western part of Indian subcontinent, then Iraq, whatever the present day Iraq, it was British colony, then Syria, and then south part that is South Yemen. Sorry, Iraq and South Yemen was British colony and Syria was French colony together. If you see India, then Pakistan, India, Burma, Bhutan, and I believe Nepal and Sri Lanka. These were British colony. If it is British colony, then certainly there will be French colony nearby because they are together. This is our research. They are together. Then where are the French? French are in the eastern part of Indian subcontinent that is also called French Indo China. England colony ends in Burma. From Burma, there is a country called Laos. From there, the French colony starts. Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, and some part of China there. Cochin China. It is called Cochin China, and there is one more region. Two regions in the China and three regions in the Indian subcontinent. It is Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. It was also known as Indo China, French Indo China region. We are talking about French Indo China region. Very few people know that everyone talks about Britishers, they ruled from the kind of Durand line, that is Pakistan Afghanistan line, from Durand line onwards, full India and then Burma. Very few people know that beyond Burma there is a country called Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, and little bit near China, Cochin China, and one more region. That region was known as French Indochina. That was ruled by French people. By 1862 only, French people, when they saw the Britishers have occupied the Indian region, they started occupying that region. Okay, and by 1899, they completely occupied that region, that is Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and Cochin China, that region. So that region is called French Indo-China. In the World War II, French Indo-China, in World War II, that region was occupied by Japanese people. They kicked out these French people and more or less they got liberated. This is better word. Japanese are not known for doing this kind of colonization. So they were liberated, more or less. When World War was over and Chinese got defeated, in that sense, French they started to regain their territory. In that sense, they lost the Cochin China and other region to China only in 1945, and Laos and Cambodia. Laos became independent in 1949 and Cambodia became independent in 1953. But they were no mood to leave Vietnam. So this much, these people they maintained to gain the independence from the France. Because France was in bad situation during World War II. When World War II started, the France was kind of occupied by Italy and Germany. I believe there was a Vinci government in the France that is also called puppet government by Germany and Italy. That government was taking care of this region. Later, it was taken care by the Japan. But when Japan lost, France again tried to regain its territory. But anyway, there was war, and Cambodia and Laos by 1953, Laos in 1949, and Cambodia in 1953, they become independent. 1945, Chinese region, small Chinese region along this country, they also became independent. The only region that remained was Vietnam. Now there is Ho Chi Minh. Ho Chi Minh is the leader who is fighting to make Vietnam free. Ho Chi Minh is trying to take help of China, whosoever. Now, when the resistance from Ho Chi Minh was high, the United States comes into the picture to help France. Because United States post World War II, 1945, United States was building a North Atlantic Treaty NATO, Treaty, I believe, organization, NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. In that NATO, in formation of NATO, United States needed help of France. In that sense, United States were committed to help France in this region. Now, United States is coming into the picture, but by the time United States come into the picture, Laos, Cambodia, and Cochin, China, they got liberated from the France. Vietnam was hanging, and Ho Chi Minh was fighting with them. There was war between Ho Chi Minh and French army whatsoever. Now, in those situations, by 1954, these United States they kind of they they divided Vietnam into two parts, North Vietnam and South Vietnam. North Vietnam was given to Ho Chi Minh the way he was fighting, and South Vietnam was came to accession to United States. That is the story of Indo China. But later, the war between Vietnam and United States it happened, and 1976 the United States had to leave Vietnam completely, and it became united. And Hanoi, I believe, is the capital of Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh became a father figure of Vietnam in 1975-1976 war. So that is the story of Indo-China French region. Is it really the story that I am talking about? There is high implication of this Indo-China. When the World War was going on and NATO formation was going on, then this America and France together, they called this region as a South Asia, South Asia, some region. They were kind of that the nomenclature they gave to this region. This idea of NATO and this region, looking at the NATO organization, they made a separate organization in this region. Looking at this idea, the country called Thailand, and there is called country called Philippines, and there is country called Malaysia, Malay, it was known at that time. Now they form another organization called Southeast Asia Association, I believe SEA at that time in 1961 or something like 1951, something like that. They formed this organization. Okay, in 1967 they renamed this organization and they included two more countries into it: Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia. And they called it as ASEAN country from NATO to French US territory to SEA, I believe, and then ASEAN, very famous in 1967. And their actually work started when 1976 when Vietnam became independent. Means they helped Vietnam to become independent. And then ASEAN region came into force with high force. Now ASEAN with Association of Southeast Asian Nation, ASEAN, is one of the most prosperous organizations in the world. I believe it is in parallel to NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Now it is Asia South Association of South Asia, uh, ASEAN, Association of South Asia Nation, South Association of Southeast Asia Nation. It is a highly progressive alliance which has 10% of the free, this is considered as free trade area, FTA. FTA generally it is called free trade agreement. FTA, or there are, I believe there are 10 countries in that. Now Vietnam also joined, and then Laos also joined, Cambodia also joined, and after that Brunei also joined. So this is association of 10 countries now, and they are also called Tiger Cubs. The United States is busy in making association with the Asian country as far as electronic manufacturing is concerned. Highly progressive alliance. So root of this Asian nation, very few people know, it is French, Indo, China. Mind blowing, amazing. So French, Indo, China. I believe I know the name of the country which were kind of under the control of French Indochina. So French Indochina, Guangzhou was the region 1898 to 1845. It is in China, and then Cochin China, also in China. In Vietnam, the region were Tonkin and Annam. So these are the two regions that in Vietnam. Anyway, they got liberated. So sometimes pain brings fruit. So they were in pain of colonization. Now they are in, because of colonization, they saw NATO and this kind of thing. Now there is a Asian organization. Mind blowing, thrilling. So French Indochina brought a prosperity in that region. What about British India? Everyone know what's going on out here. Very bad, very poor. They try to make Sark nation completely flop because of India only. India has to improve. This is what I think.